Welcome back to the deep dive. We're grabbing our sources again today and plunging right into one of the really exciting bits at the end of the Premier League season, the race for those individual awards. We're talking Golden Boot for top scorer, Playmaker Award for assists, and the Golden Glove for keepers, all for the 2024-25 season. Our main guide for this is an article by Ben Bloom dated May 23rd, 2025. It's assessing things just before the final game. So our mission today, let's cut through the noise, look at the key stats, the scenarios this article presents, and really debate what it tells us about who's likely walking away with the trophies. Based just on this article, mind you. Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, these awards, they really do capture different parts of a great season, don't they? Highlighting those standout individuals.
Yeah.
So the article defines them pretty clearly. Golden Boot, straightforward enough, most goals. Haaland's had it the last 2 years, we know that. But Thierry Henry still holds the record 4 times.
Right. And the Playmaker.
That's for most assists.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins took it last season. Kevin De Bruyne, he's got the most overall since it started with 3. Got it. And the Golden Glove. Goalkeepers, most clean sheets. David Raya got it last season. And the record there, it's shared actually, Petr Cech and Joe Hart, both on 4. So yeah, those are the prizes everyone's chasing down on the final day.
All right, let's kick off with the goals then. The Golden Boot. Looking at the numbers in the article, Mohamed Salah, Liverpool, he's way out front, 28 goals. Then it's Alexander Isak at Newcastle on 23. Haaland's on 21 for City. Chris Wood, Forest, has 20. And then Brandon Bomo and Yoeda Wissa, both Brentford, they're tied on 19. So straight away, you see that 5-goal lead Salah has over Isak. That feels pretty decisive, doesn't it?
It really does. And what's kind of amazing, the article points this out, Salah hasn't actually scored in his last 8 league games.
8 games?
Yeah. But that gap, it's still huge. For Isak to even draw level, he'd need, well, the article says he'd need 5 goals.
5 goals in one game against Everton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article really drums home how rare that is. It reminds us, only 5 players ever have scored 5 in a Premier League match. We're talking Cole, Shearer, Aguero, names like that.
So history isn't exactly on Isak's side there, based on this.
Not at all. That historical context the article provides, it makes a 5-goal final day sprint seem, well, incredibly unlikely.
Plus, the article adds another complication for it. Isak mentions he was an injured out for that final game.
Right. And it also notes Haaland missed time in April with an injury, which probably held his tally back a bit too.
Okay, so let's analyze this, just based on what the article is telling us. Is there really any debate left? Or is Salah, even with this, recent dry spell, basically got it locked up? What does that 5-goal gap suggest for the forecast?
Well, based purely on this article's analysis, the data points very strongly toward Salah. Yes, it's mathematically possible for Isak, but when you factor in this history scoring 5, plus Isak's potential fitness issue mentioned, the forecast is pretty clear. Salah's the overwhelming favorite.
Right.
And the article even adds that extra layer. This would be Salah's 4th Golden Boot. That puts him level with Thierry Henry's record.
Tying Henry. That adds some historical weight, doesn't it?
Definitely. It underlines just how strong his position is, making this look like a near certainty, according to the analysis here.
Okay, so Golden Boot looks, well, pretty much decided based on this source. Let's switch to the Playmaker Award. And this is where the article says things get really interesting because the standings are near identical to the Golden Boot race. Salah, again, leading the way, 18 assists this time. His closest challenger listed is Jacob Murphy at Newcastle with 12, then Elanga at Forest on 11, then quite a few players on 10, Rodgers at Villa, Saka at Arsenal, Damsgaard at Brentford, and Antonee Robinson at Fulham.
So that's a 6-assist lead for Salah over Murphy, another big gap.
Yeah, but again, there's a catch, right?
There is. Similar story to the goals, really. The article notes Salah's only managed 1 assist in his last 9 league games.
1 in 9?
Yeah. And it also flags Bukayo Saka's situation started like a house on fire, 10 assists in 12 games, but hasn't added any since then because of injury. Shows how things can shift.
So what does this all mean for the final day? The article throws out this possibility. Salah matching the all-time assist record. Henry and De Bruyne hold that, right? 20 assists.
That's right, 20.
And Salah needs 2 more against Crystal Palace to hit that mark. So based on the article's details, can he do it? What's the forecast there?
Well, this raises a good question, doesn't it? I mean, the article's stats, that 6-assist lead, that strongly suggests he's almost certain to win the Playmaker Award.
Okay, the win looks safe.
Pretty much, based on these numbers. But matching the record, that's a whole different forecast, isn't it? It hinges entirely on him having a big final game, and his recent assist form, which the article highlights, doesn't exactly scream 2 assists are coming.
Right. So the win looks probable. The record is much more up for debate, shall we say.
Exactly, based on what the article tells us about his recent output, yeah.
And the article ties these two races together quite neatly, pointing out Salah could get that double-double, winning both Golden Boot and Playmaker again. He did it back in 21-22.
Yeah, and the article lists the only others to do the double just once. Andrew Cole, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Harry Kane.
So Salah would be the first to do it twice.
That's what the article says. It frames it as a really significant, kind of unprecedented achievement if he pulls it off again. Quite something.
Okay, fascinating stuff on Salah. Let's shift focus now to the keepers. The Golden Glove. According to this article, this one is completely different. It's a dead heat going into the final day.
Yeah, proper shootout.
Yeah.
David Raya at Arsenal and Matt Sells at Nottingham Forest, both locked on 13 clean sheets.
13 each. And the article reminds us Raya won it last season.
He did, yeah, with 16. It also mentions Ederson had a good run winning it before that.
Right.
But this year, it's down to the wire, and this is where the final fixture analysis in the article becomes really crucial for any kind of forecast.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Yeah.
What does the article say about their final games?
Well, it draws a really stark contrast. Raya's Arsenal are away at Southampton,
Okay.
who the article explicitly calls the league's lowest scorers.
Lowest scorers.
Right.
And Sells.
Sells and Forest are hosting Chelsea, and Chelsea are described as one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
Ah, low scorers versus highest scorers. That's quite a difference.
It is, and the article adds another layer for Srollies. Sells points out he hasn't actually kept a clean sheet in his last 7 league games.
7 games without one. And he's facing Chelsea. That sounds tough.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So let's just stick to the info the article gives us, based only on that. The opponent's scoring records, Sells' recent form. Who does this data suggest has the clear statistical edge here?
Well, it seems pretty obvious based on that comparison, doesn't it? The article's analysis of the fixtures seems to heavily favor one of them.
It certainly paints a compelling picture based on probability, yeah. It really highlights the importance of that final matchup.
And there's history potentially being made here too, isn't there? The article mentions Sells.
Yes. If Sells were to win it, despite maybe the odds suggested by the fixtures, he'd be the first Golden Glove winner from a club outside the traditional Big Five, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, United, since the award even started back in 04-05.
Wow, first ever from outside that group. That would be quite something for Forest.
It really would. So this raises that important question, can Sells defy what the stats in the article seem to suggest? Can he overcome that tougher fixture, that recent form, and make history? Or will the data points the article highlights the easier opponent for Raya, Sells' run prove decisive?
The article gives us a great framework to debate that, definitely. Okay, so let's try and bring this deep dive into the article together then. We've analyzed what it's telling us. Salah looks, well, very strongly positioned for both the Golden Boot and Playmaker awards, largely down to those significant leads, even if the article notes his recent form hasn't been spectacular in either goals or assists.
Exactly. And then for the Golden Glove, the article presents this really tight race, a direct battle. But the analysis within the piece, focusing on those final opponents in recent form, strongly suggests one keeper has a statistical advantage heading into that last match. It forecasts a likely winner based on those factors.
Right. And these individual awards, as the article really shows, they're fascinating, aren't they? They give you a different angle on the season. It's all about that consistent excellence, scoring, creating, or, stopping goals. So as you watch those final games, you can keep the scenarios from this article in mind. What actually unfolds? In Liverpool versus Palace for Salah, Newcastle versus Everton for Isak, or Murphy maybe, Forest versus Chelsea for Sells, Arsenal versus Southampton for Raya. Those specific results could be the moments that either confirm what this article forecasts or maybe, just maybe, give us a dramatic twist.
Yeah, just to quickly recap the main takeaways we have pulled from this source material. Salah's leads make him the probable winner in 2 races, according to this analysis, though that potential assist record adds a bit of extra spice. The Golden Glove is neck and neck, but the article's comparison of the final games points strongly towards his statistical favorite. And as we talked about, there are potentially big historical milestones on the line, Salah's double-double or tying Henry, and Salah's potentially breaking that Big Five dominance for the glove, all highlighted in the piece.
So maybe a final thought, drawing just from the source material we've unpacked here. Will we see history repeat itself? Salah doing that double-double, maybe even getting those 2 assists to tie the all-time record. Or perhaps, will we see history made in the Golden Glove? Could Sells and Forest defy the fixture stats the article presents and grab that award away from the traditional powerhouses? Something to think about as the season wraps up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.